Hello. As always, you can set this to 1.5 times or 2 times speed if you would like to speed it up and get through a little faster. So I'm going to be talking about Fishbowl Seminar and how I set up that of Mice and Men seminar that you watched the video of, the throwback from 2015. My goodness. So basically, in a fishbowl, you have maybe it depends. You can have 2 groups, you could have 3 groups, you could have 4 groups, 5, whatever. It depends on the size of your class. I've found that the perfect number, though, for the number of participants in the actual fishbowl, like in the center, is when you've got maybe 5 students to 8. If it gets any bigger than 8, and 8 is even pushing it, then you're going into that area where some students may not get the opportunity to talk as much. And part of the point of doing a fishbowl style seminar is when you've got, just say, 5 students in the center and all the other students on the outside listening into that discussion. All of these students, each one, gets a lot more opportunity to talk and have a much closer discussion. Some students really prefer this method, especially the quieter ones, because it gives them that opportunity where they don't have to compete in order to have something to say. All right. Now, something else to know is that you want to make it, if you have a fishbowl seminar, each group that comes into the center should have a different topic or a different part of the topic that they are responsible for discussing that day. So you might have one main focus question, right, for your seminar, but then you would have maybe 4 or 5 sub questions, again, depending on the size of your class. Now, if we take a look at the Of Mice and Men seminar, something that I wanted to explain to you that was not shown in that video is in here. This was an on-the-spot seminar. This wasn't something where students got to prepare at home beforehand, although really the best preparation possible was reading their books, right? And they knew that this was coming. They knew that a discussion was coming and that we would be talking about some major themes and ideas in the book. Anyway, so we took, out of a 90-minute block period, we took about 15 minutes to prepare ahead of time. And again, students didn't know exactly which topic they would be assigned for the seminar, so they had to do some thinking on all of them that were shown here. So they took out a piece of paper on this. This was old school. I had them take out a sheet of paper and fold it into 6 segments. You could also just give your students a Google Doc like this one, and that totally works. But I told students, you will find out which one you are assigned soon. Until then, brainstorm for all 5 and number 6 if you want to. That's kind of like the extension. And then keep in mind for each topic, how does it really relate back to the text? What text evidence are you going to be pulling in, okay? And what are you going to be asking? And then also I said you can refer to a couple of other sources we've studied. So giving them a few other texts so maybe they can synthesize, which is cool. So if you notice here, I had topic 1, use or purpose of setting in Steinbeck's world, and a couple of questions that students had actually come up with a lot of these, and I had just compiled them a couple of days prior. Topic 2, Steinbeck's people and the hierarchy on the ranch. Topic 3, the American dream. Topic 4, loneliness. And then topic 5 was symbolism and foreshadowing. Topic 6, that extension one that I was mentioning, is what would make for a good topic and what questions could you pose about it. So in this one, a student might be coming up with something that they feel like is definitely discussion worthy, and if they can convince others to join them, well, then they've got a group. All right. So in a class of 30, it'd be about 5 students per if this one were to go, or it might be like 6 students for the 5 groups. Okay. And they got to get in there and have this discussion, which was pretty awesome. Another thing you can do is, let's say that you have these 6 topics, and students really feel strongly, like you poll the class and you say, okay, if we only have time for 3 of these, which 3 are going to get the most votes? And then they get to vote on which ones they think would be best before they either get assigned or before they choose which one they want to be in. All right. So anyway, just some fun ways to engage your class. It's also great because you can have students who are sitting on the outside of the circle then taking notes either on their hard copy paper or in their Google Doc, because then afterwards you could see my learning target, my closure, was for them to synthesize 3 pieces of text to create original, arguable thesis statements. So based on the topic that they were in, they had to construct a thesis statement. Okay? Anyway, I hope that this helps to explain why you might choose to do a fishbowl seminar. Now, one other thing that I could show you here, if you would like to stay on and listen to this one, this was Myth of the West. Okay, this is when I was teaching social studies to 8th graders. And our focus question was, does the artwork show the West in a realistic way, based on everything that we had studied about the Western migration and all of that kind of stuff? Or is it contributing to a myth of the West, what we idealize or what we think it was like and that kind of thing? Okay, so first off, they did a free write to prepare. Now, this one they did have 50 minutes before, like they had the class period before, and they knew what their topic was going to be. I let students choose because it was used as a final exam. And then on the day of the seminar, all students then had to listen in as each group moved in, and then the others took down some notes, and they had to do some synthesis and thinking about the myth of the West afterwards, collectively, about all of the pieces. Anyway, so I had these artworks that I had picked out for them. They had seen some similar things, or maybe even the exact pieces before, but there's this one, and then this one, so plenty of things for them to dive into. I also love See, Think, Wonder as a routine, and that's something that I encouraged students to do as they were preparing for their seminar, and so on. So those were the 5 pieces that were discussed during that particular seminar. So again, here, see, think, wonder, and then step 4, take some notes on the artist's life and work. So they also had to do a little bit of research to tie in, well, why did this artist create this? What was this artist influenced by? What was their lived experience of the West? Or was this art created a long time after westward expansion? Anyway, fishbowls are an absolute delight. Please reach out to me if you have any questions.